So, picture this. It's a scene that I'm sure is super familiar to a lot of you out there. A busy morning, right? You're rushing to get to work, get the kids to school, phones are buzzing, and time is just flying by. And in the middle of all this, let's call it organized chaos, is a mother getting her young daughter, Amara, ready for the day. You know how it is. Breakfast is a blur. There's just no time to double-check if Amara's hands are washed perfectly or if she brushed her teeth for the full 2 minutes. And the mother has this quick, fleeting thought, it's fine, she'll be okay. And it's right there, in that one tiny, totally understandable assumption that our story takes a turn. That one little shortcut, that single it'll be fine moment, well, it pretty much set the stage for everything that happened next. It was like opening a door the family didn't even know was there and letting a hidden danger walk right on in. So later that afternoon, Amara just wasn't her usual bubbly self. She came home quiet, complaining that she was itchy and uncomfortable, and by that evening, what started as something minor had blown up into a full-on fever, and that's when the real worries started to creep in. The whole situation ended up with the trip to the hospital, and the diagnosis, well, that was a tough pill to swallow. It was an infection that the doctors explained could have been completely avoided with just some basic, consistent hygiene. Sitting there, just exhausted and scared, Amara's mom kept asking herself the same question over and over again in her head. How? How did this happen? And she realized the answer wasn't some big, single event. No, it was hidden in all those small, overlooked details of their daily routine. So this brings us to the solution. And we're not talking about some complicated medical procedure here, but something way more powerful. We're calling it the 10-habit shield. And I want you to think of these not as chores, but like our proactive defense system for your child. All right, here they are, the 10 essential habits that make up this protective shield. Now, of course, we all know about hand washing and bathing, right? But look closer at the ones we might sometimes overlook, like keeping their nails trimmed short, where germs just love to hide. Or what about making sure school items like backpacks and lunchboxes are getting cleaned regularly? A pediatrician will tell you these are the hidden entry points for all sorts of bacteria. You see, each habit is one link in a chain, and when you put them all together, they form this incredibly powerful barrier against infection. And please, don't underestimate the power of this idea. This is no exaggeration. The source material is crystal clear. Consistently practicing these simple habits can prevent the vast majority of common childhood illnesses. Prevention is truly and literally in our daily grasp. Let's just zoom in on the number one rule here, hand washing. Why is it so critical? Because hands are basically superhighways for germs. The link is so direct. A child who eats with unwashed hands is literally just feeding bacteria directly into their body. It's that simple, and yep, it's that serious. Okay, so knowing the habits is one thing, but the real challenge? That's turning all that knowledge into consistent action. This is about moving beyond just a checklist and actually building a true family culture of hygiene.
And let's be really clear, this is a super important point. This is not about parents not caring. It's about the pressures of modern life. We are all incredibly busy, and sometimes that means our attention gets spread thin, pulled away from the very routines that matter the most.
This slide just perfectly contrasts the two mindsets. On one side, you have those passive thoughts that just creep in during a busy day. I'll check later. It's not that serious. Or they'll be fine. But what our children truly need are the active, intentional actions on the other side. Real guidance, actual supervision, and just being consistent. So how do you build this culture without adding more stress to your life? First, turn it into a routine. A great way to do this is called habit stacking. Just link a new habit to one you already have. For example, after we put our plates in the sink, we immediately wash our hands. Second, lead by example and make it fun. Turn hand washing into a game by singing a 20-second song, or create a simple reward chart with stickers for a week of clean nails. For busy parents, monitoring doesn't have to be a big chore. You could try a quick hygiene high five in the morning. Check for clean hands, face, and clothes all in one go. The absolute key here is consistency, because that's what turns a simple action into a lifelong protective habit. As we wrap things up here, we come back to the main theme, which is both incredibly simple and just profoundly important. The greatest protection for our children often lies in the smallest of actions. This is the ultimate takeaway. The little things you do today, making sure hands are washed, clothes are clean, and nails are trimmed, they're not just for today. They are literally the building blocks for a healthier future for your child. And I want to leave you with this one last thought. We often look for these big, heroic actions to protect the ones we love. But as Amara's story shows us, true protection isn't found in a single grand gesture. It's forged in the quiet, consistent, and loving attention we give to the small things every single day.
So picture this. There's a mom trying to get her little girl Amara ready. At the same time, work messages are popping up on her phone. Breakfast needs to be finished. It's just that typical everyday morning scramble that we all know so well. And in that blur of activity, a few things get overlooked. Did Amara really scrub her hands with soap? Did she brush her teeth for long enough? Are those the same pants from yesterday? The thought crosses her mind, but she just thinks, it's fine. It'll be okay for one day. We've all been there.
But that's exactly where this story takes a turn. Because those little, it's fine moments, those tiny assumptions we make, sometimes that's exactly where bigger problems get their start.
So, what happened? This is where Amara's story becomes a really powerful lesson. Let's see how that one seemingly normal morning started a chain reaction. Fast forward to that afternoon. Amara gets home from school and she's just not herself. She's quiet, she's complaining about being itchy and uncomfortable, and then, a little while later, a fever starts to creep in. Suddenly, it's not just a small thing anymore. Now, her mom is sitting there, probably at a doctor's office or a hospital, just completely worried and exhausted, and she's asking herself that one question every parent dreads. How did this happen? What did I miss? And the answer, well, it was heartbreakingly simple. The diagnosis was an infection that the doctor said could have been prevented. The how wasn't some mysterious illness. It was hidden in the tiny, overlooked details of their rushed morning routine. And this is where we get to the good news. There's a simple, incredibly powerful solution. Think of it like a protective shield for our kids. It's not about buying fancy products. It's just about building consistent habits. And get this isn't just a nice idea. The experts are really clear on this one. These 10 simple habits can actually prevent most of the common infections that kids pick up. This is the powerful, direct answer to that mom's question. All right, let's break down the first 5. This is all about personal hygiene. Number 1, regular hand washing with soap and water. This is the superhero of germ fighting. Then, a daily bath or shower to wash the day away. Third, proper toothbrushing, twice a day, every day. Oral health is so connected to everything else. 4, keeping those nails clean and trimmed, because you would not believe what can hide under there. And 5, wearing clean clothes each day. They seem basic, right? But together, they're a fortress. Okay, now for the next 5. This is where we zoom out a bit from just the body to the world around them. So we've got keeping school stuff clean, like lunchboxes, clean eating habits, not eating food that's dropped on the floor, using tissues correctly for coughs and sneezes. Super important. Keeping the house generally clean. And number 10, this one's for us parents. Regular health checks and just paying attention to our kids. It's about creating a whole clean and healthy ecosystem. So we have the list, right? But knowing the list and actually doing the list every single day, well, that's the real challenge, isn't it? And that brings us to this idea called intentional parenting. So what does that even mean? It's pretty simple, actually. It's the difference between just telling your kid to wash their hands and, making sure they actually did it with soap. It's about being present for those little routines, guiding them, and not just assuming it'll all happen perfectly on its own. And I think this is so important. This is not about being a bad parent or a lack of love, not at all. Parents today are pulled in 1,000 directions. The real issue is just a lack of focused attention on these small but really crucial details when life gets chaotic. It's an issue of bandwidth, not love. So how do we fix it? Well, here's a simple 4-step game plan. First, make these things a non-negotiable part of the daily routine, just like eating breakfast. Second, let your kids see you doing it. You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, they'll copy what they see. Third, create little reminders, maybe a fun checklist on the bathroom mirror. And fourth, and this is the magic key, make it consistent. Turn toothbrushing into a 2-minute dance party. Make it a game. Consistency is everything. So as we wrap this up, let's just come back to the main point here. It's so easy to think we need to do these huge, grand things to protect our kids, but the real power, it's in our hands. It's in the small, everyday actions we do over and over again. This really says it all, doesn't it? Healthy habits build healthy lives. Every time they wash their hands, every time they brush their teeth, You're not just preventing a cold today. You're laying down the foundation for a lifetime of well-being. And that is the big takeaway here. The best protection we can give our kids doesn't come from some heroic one-time action. It comes from the quiet, boring, beautiful consistency of our daily routines. It's the little things done with love and attention every single day. So, what's one small habit you can be a little more intentional about starting tomorrow?